Oh, good morning. Uh, or is it a good morning for Philadelphia sports fans? It was a nasty week, not a nasty day the other day. It was a nasty week. Uh, on Thursday was bad enough for Philadelphia sports fans, but the week was not good for Philadelphia sports fans. So what I'm going to do is bring a little law and order to the show. Yep. And try to straighten this out, but I need you. Uh, well, I'd like to have you. We may not agree on everything on what to do with, and we're going to start with the Phillies. But before we do that, let me tell you that it is great to have as our presenting sponsor Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell is the guy. So many things going on in the world of finance, and Jeff Stillwell can help you with your wealth, with your money, because he knows his stuff. So I suggest you give Jeff a call at 732-343-0813. Stillwell Financial Advisors. The Phillies. Where do you start? You know, I really I really don't like to give you the I told you so's. I didn't like their lineup. I still don't like their lineup. And I don't know how they can fix much of their lineup. That's an issue. It really is an issue. Um, I just don't know how they can. Well, they got to make trades, but you're stuck, with well, you're stuck with three long contracts. You got Harper, you got Trey Turner, and you weren't going to trade those guys anyway. You got Aaron Nola. I believe he signed a 7-year contract last year. So that means, by my math, he's got 6 years left. So you've got that. You're going to have to sign players. And we're going to talk about the players that you think that the Phillies should move on from or not re-sign, and what they really need to do. There's a link out there for you to. It's not rocket science. I see Mark says he's already on it. The Phillies stink. Well, their offense isn't good enough. It's just not good enough. But before we get to that, let me explain to you how you can join the show. And people I see are already in. It's really pretty easy. When you see that uh, icon come up, or that message on your screen, would like to access the microphone and camera, hit allow. I mean, that's pretty. Now, if you don't want the camera on, you can put your X through the camera, but we need your audio, obviously. So it's really enter your name and join the waiting room. And I see a bunch of people have already joined, and we're going to get to you in a second. But first, I want to talk about the other people that are important. The other companies and people that are important to this program. And one of them would be Audi Westchester. Another sale going on this month. They had a great one last month, and a lot of people, I stop over there usually once a week just to see what's going on and say hello to the people there and the customers, and grab a cup of coffee and grab some snacks. But Audi Westchester has a 3.99% financing up to 72 months on the following new Audis. They're new models: A5, the new A5, the new Q5, the new SQ5, the Q5 Sportback, the SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear wheel drive. Stop by Audi Westchester. You can do it. You'll have some fun looking at some cars. Located 1421 Wilmington Pike. Don't wait. This special offer is not going to last long. Like the last one didn't last long. And some people procrastinate. He who procrastinates is lost. 3.99% financing up to 72 months on those new Audis: the A5, Q5, SQ5, Q5 Sportback, SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear wheel drive. Redesigned new models at Audi. And also, it's getting cold, so it's not going to be much longer where you can have your pool built. And Piazza Property Pros can do that. They can give you, redo your property, whether it's a fire pit, the hot tub, make things look really, really nice for company that comes over. They do so many things, whether it's landscaping, fencing, pool maintenance. If you already have a pool, trust Piazza Property Pros, 25 years of experience, 25 years. They don't subcontract. That's important. Give them a call, 610-566-2608. Call them 566-2608 today for a free consultation. Free, and not all companies do that. Or check them out on their internet, on their website, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right, let's get to the Phillies. I'm going to give you my opinions, but I'm sure I want to hear yours. What do they do to change this thing? They are built. They are not built to be a World Series team. Not. I don't like the lineup. I've told you that. I'm not going to blame Kirkering on the last play. They had 4 hits in 11 innings. 4 hits in 11 innings in the losing game. It's brutal. They don't put the ball in play. And I'm going to tell you right now, although you want to fire the manager, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to be back because all they bring in is another guy that would follow all these analytics. All right, Joe, I think we have some people that want to get to us before we get to Marc Lawrence. Before I do that, before I go to the our first person, I want to announce the winner from the last show of the Larry Boa autographed baseball. And the winner was Brian Baldinger. Said that he mentioned 3 teams that he thought could challenge the Eagles. There's a lot of teams now that could challenge the Eagles in the NFC. Joe Clemus, one way or the other, I'm sure I pronounced it correctly. Joe, you win the autographed baseball. And those teams he mentioned were Detroit, Green Bay, and Washington. So congratulations, Joe, and thanks for listening and watching the program. All right, so if we have some people that want to join the show, let's go to George first. George, go ahead.
King, good morning.
Good morning. How do you like your Phillies, George? How do you like that?
Man, you asked me yesterday, last week, what I thought about the Phillies and Eagles winning together to the percentage, and I said 40%. It got worse. Thursday night was tough, man. I couldn't sleep. I'm like, here we go again. Philadelphia losing again. And you were right. You told us a couple things, that the Eagles would lose to the Giants once, and you thought it would be this game. It was a tough night. In regards to the Phillies, I wrote some notes down here.
Okay, let's hear them.
I'm signing Kyle, but it's not Kyle Schwarber. I'm going to go after Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, but what makes you think that he's with the Cubs, right?
Yes, he had a 1-year deal with the Cubs. I mean, if you're going to sign a high salary guy, Tucker can play right field.
But here's your problem, George. They can't sign a high salary guy. They'll be so far over the luxury tax. That's the problem. Okay, and I would think that the Cubs are going to want to re-sign. Didn't Tucker hit a home run the last game, and they're going into Game 5?
Yeah, they're going to Game 5.
Yeah, so I don't know that that's going to be that easy. I don't know that the Cubs aren't going to re-sign him. I guess they wanted to see what kind of year he was going to have. This would be interesting. I mean, Tucker would be great.
I mean, he's an everyday player. You're not signing a salary guy for just to be a DH. I like Kyle Schwarber, but he can't play the field. Okay. And
I don't think they're going to sign Schwarber because he's going to get big money. How about what Cincinnati did? Cincinnati had his father throw out the first pitch when the Phillies were there last time. He's from the Cincinnati area.
So he played high school football in Cincinnati area. Yes.
Yeah. So, and it doesn't matter where he goes. He's changed teams already. This is his last contract. He's going to want a minimum of 4 years. And I think he's going to get a minimum of $35 million. And I don't think the Eagles are going to do that. They're a team that's built the wrong way. And Kyle Schwarber was important, but they're built on home runs. I'm tired of home run hitters.
So do you bring up at this point, I think I signed JT for 2 years. Groom a catcher. You bring up Panther and Crawford. Did they bring them up this year, or are they going to?
They're not going to sign. I don't think they're going to sign Realmuto. Realmuto is, and he said after the last game, Joe, if you have that, listen to this, George, and this is nonsense that he wasn't thinking about. After the last games, people asked him about his contract. Let's play that, Joe.
Do you expect a manage next year?
Do I?
This is
That's
rough
again,
times.
it's out of my control. I'm not even.
All right.
Do you want to be back? Do you
We're,
expect to be back?
There you go.
I'm not here to talk about free agency. Don't ask that question right now. Does it affect the way you feel with these guys right now, knowing that unlike Nick, who's under contract, but it may be different
okay.
for you? And I'm thinking about losing a baseball game. That's what it feels like right now. The last thing I'm thinking about is next year. If you want to ask me about this series or my teammates, like I understand that, but I haven't thought about next year yet.
Okay, well, I think that's nonsense because it's not the last thing he's thinking about, because there was a point when somebody asked him something, he said that I'm not looking for as much as last year. I'm told by two people independently who would know, would have an idea, let's put it that way, that he's going to want a multi-year contract and he's not taking less than last year. So they're not going to sign him. They're
Okay.
not going to sign him. He's done.
Now with
Marshall-
Aaron Nola, just to help you out, he signed a 7-year deal in 2023, 172 million, and that contract doesn't end until 2030. So you know what? You're right about the high salaries. He signed a 7-year deal.
That's your problem. So what do you do? All right.
Oh.
So let me break it down for you, George. They're not going to be able to trade Castellanos unless they give a big part of his salary to the other team. I was told that they tried to do that last year, and teams teams wouldn't. They wanted you to pay the whole salary. Well, the Phillies weren't going to do that, so it's going to be hard to trade him. I don't know that they just release him. But then that money still counts, so that's still on your payroll. I'm telling you, I don't know what they can do. I don't think Riamulto's coming back. I don't think Schwarber's coming back. Castellanos, I don't know what they're going to do with Castellanos. You'd almost have to think Pete Alonso is a free agent. Now, whether Harper gives you permission to put him back in right field, that would have to be a conversation by the owner, because the owner, who's worried about his legacy, another issue here, worried about his legacy, and the hell with his goddamn legacy. Excuse me. The hell with his legacy. I shouldn't use God's name in vain. The hell with his legacy. You got to tell, hey, Bryce, you're going to right field. If we want to sign Pete Alonso, you're going to right field. And he would be less. I think he would be less than Tucker.
I thought about Alonso too. I mean,
Yeah.
does he want to get out of New York and go?
I don't know. It depends on whether they want to pay him. People are going after the money right now. So,
Of course.
So you're going to have Stott's going to hit arbitration soon. Bohm is iffy. And Bader is a question. I was thinking of signing Bader, but he may not be as good as this little spurt that he showed you. He's been with 5 or 6 teams.
Yes. Correct.
I don't know about that. I'm telling you, George, this team, this lineup, and I'm going to break down what I think the lineup should be. Give me a break.
Are we ever going to see? I mean, you said it, and they're built. Their MO is home run or nothing, and you're exactly right. You're not going to win too many games.
Home run or strikeout. Home run or walk back to the dugout with a
correct.
strikeout.
Yeah. Correct. Now, you got another name is probably not going to come back either. Is Ranger Suarez?
No, I don't think so either. But and Painter, I've heard some. I thought they should have brought him up, but somebody told me he didn't really pitch that well in the minor leagues, and he's changed his motion. Is he the same pitcher? That's Crawford's coming up next year.
I hope
Crawford
so.
will be one. Yeah, he'll be one of the outfielders. He's coming up next year.
Good.
He should have come up this year. And they should have brought him up for the playoffs, because the reality is the Phillies had 11 or 12 pitchers on the roster in the playoffs for a 5-game series, because you can change after the first series. What the hell are they? These analytics people, they ought to lock the door to that building they're in. Don't let them out. Don't let them use their computer. Turn off their electricity and tell them to shut the bleep up.
It's me. I say that off the air with friends. When I hear analytics, I lose my mind and everything.
It's a joke.
In baseball, where's the feel of the game?
And George, I'll tell you, we're going to talk about the Eagles' flaws too, and they have some flaws. But I want to take another caller before I go to Marc Lawrence. Hey, George, have a great weekend.
You too, brother.
I think we got a who is it, Jason? All right, let's go to Jason.
Baseball.
Hey, Jason, it's Tony.
Ah,
Joe's
all right,
having challenges back there.
let's go Flyers. Come on, Rick
Flyers play
Tockett.
tonight. I know.
Let's go. He's
Uh,
going to bring us
okay,
happiness.
Tony, what are you going to do with the Phillies? The Flyers are going to win a championship for the Sixers, but I don't know. You know what? I don't think the Phillies are winning a championship anytime soon either. They got to really do a lot of things. But so, what would you do with the Phillies, Tony?
The Phillies, well, like you say, maybe Pete Alonso. What about Aaron Judge?
Aaron Judge, how are they going to get Aaron Judge? Tony, are you on drugs?
No. Thank
Okay.
God.
Okay. But Aaron Judge. Oh, yeah. They're going to get Aaron Judge.
I know. Wishful thinking.
I see a comment here. Can they trade Bryce? No, they're not trading Bryce Harper.
But, I don't know.
I don't like their lineup. The manager is not the issue here. Don't blame Kerkering for the last game because they had 4 hits in 11 innings. Score 1 run in 11 innings is an insult. It's just I don't like their lineup. I just don't like the way they play the game. I don't like them swinging for home runs. They're a team that's challenged to score runs in the playoffs. That's what it comes down to.
Now, the guy that choked up was JT. If you noticed, he did choke up on his back, so he did listen.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, he's not back next year either, I don't think. I don't think he's back next year. Nope.
No. And the Eagles, they really laid an egg. I mean, I think AJ's got to take a hike.
Laid an egg? I don't think they were capable of laying an egg the last game. That takes some work to lay an egg. They didn't even lay an egg.
It's not even Easter.
Well, you know what? When they can't run the ball, the quarterback has to do things that I don't know that he's really
Well, that
good
last
enough to
play
do.
last week with the Hail Mary pass.
The Hail Mary is at the end of the game.
Well,
They haven't scored a point in the second half in the last 3 weeks. Come on.
You didn't expect your own player to tackle your, Devontae Smith.
Tony, stop. I'm moving on. That's not what happened. Have a great weekend.
All right, King. Have a good week. See you.
All right. Now, before we get to Marc Lawrence, all right, let's get to Jason. Let's go to. Hey, Jason, what's up?
Good morning. How you doing, Howard?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Well, I want to use one of your lines. Managers don't win games; they lose games. And Thompson single-handedly lost 3 games. The first game he lost by bringing in Robertson back in, lost that game. The second game, the bunt, they would have won that game too. That was grounds for.
Okay, that's the only mistake I think he made.
And then in the third game. The third game, if I was managing, they would have won 1-0 because he walked Ohtani, who was 1 for 17, 8 strikeouts to load the bases and pitch the bets, and that cost him the game. He lost.
Well, yeah, but your closer didn't get the job done
because he loaded the bases and left them no room for error. That was a mistake.
Wait a minute. He's your closer. They play all these lights.
But Ohtani then struck out his next time up. They would have won the game.
When they're home, they have a celebration when he comes in the game. Durant always gives up. It seems like.
Then why afraid to pitch him to Ohtani? That's why you brought him in to face Ohtani.
Well, because it's a lefty-righty thing. It's analytics that guide what he says. And any manager or any person you bring in that could be the manager is going to do the same things. The only thing that they probably wouldn't do
is the
bunt. But from what I understand, Stott was told if he sees the rotation, as a hitter, you see what's going on in the field, pull it back and slap it because the whole center of the field is open. And he was told to do that, and he didn't do that on the first pitch. He was told to do that. So, if you see the rotation, there's all kinds of things, but to blame the manager and managers, you're right. They don't win. And I've said this, they don't win games. They lose games, but the players, they are not a team that's built to win a World Series.
That's true, but I don't think they're going to win with this manager. I mean, it's happened every year in the playoffs.
I don't think they're going to win with this lineup. I mean, okay, the lineup. I don't want Schwarber hitting 2. I'd rather not
Well,
hit
why didn't he
one
change the lineup when they were not hitting?
because Bryce Harper wants to hit three.
Okay.
You know what Bryce Harper wants,
Right.
Bryce Harper gets. All right. So you should hit, if you do anything, if you want to leave Turner at the leadoff, you have Harper 2, Schwarber 3, and Bohm, who's your best contact hitter, 4. That's what you do. But I don't know that Harper hit 2 once, and that changed. I'm telling you, Bryce Harper gets whatever Bryce Harper wants. Now, at one time, he was a great player. He's a very good player now, but
not what he was now.
it's
Here's
just,
another move he made. Why did he bring Kirkring in with men on base?
who else are you going to? He always brings in
He
guys
could have
because
stayed with Luzardo.
well, the thing is, when you bring in a pitcher, you have to pitch to 3 hitters. There was a reason he gave for that. Kirkering was been all right. Actually, he should have been out of the inning with the ground ball.
Right.
But it's not. But you have to score more than 1 run in 11 innings. I'm telling you, it's just they have issues, and it's not. I don't think the biggest issue is the manager. The hitters, it's home run or walk back to the dugout after a strikeout.
Right.
It's just,
That's not going to work in the playoffs.
yeah. I mean, and then the Eagles. But the big issue right now is the Phillies. But the Eagles have some issues too.
Yeah, they got to get rid of that offensive coordinator.
It's not him. It's not him. The quarterback doesn't see. When Brian Baldinger was on, he pointed out where the receivers, he doesn't go through when you have to pass the ball, he doesn't go through his progressions well enough. Now, is he a better quarterback than he was when he first started? Absolutely. But he doesn't go through his progressions. There's always going to be open guys, but sometimes you got to find them. And I don't think, and he's more apt, and he's afraid to throw the football because he's afraid of turnovers. That's why he takes so many sacks. That's why he runs the ball off a scramble. There are people open. Jackson Dart's not better than Hurts right now, but you see, he wasn't afraid. He threw the ball in the tight windows. He wasn't afraid, and Jalen's got to get over that. And it's so easy to blame the offensive coordinator. And that meeting between those 3 guys, between Saquon, Brown, and Hurts, boy, that did a lot of good. Once you have one and it doesn't work, forget it. They're done.
Right.
They're done. They're going to make the playoffs. But all right. Hey, Jason, have a great weekend, man.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining the show. All right. We're going to have a question at the end of the show to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. And you submit your answer to my website, howardeskin.com. Have it in by Tuesday, this coming Tuesday at midnight, and we'll announce the winner on the Wednesday show, which is seen live on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube, and you're automatically notified when the show comes on live. All right, let's have Marc Lawrence join the show as Marc listened to all these Phillies fans begging for help. And I don't know that help is around the corner for the Phillies. They're going to try, but I don't know what they can do. I have no idea what they can do. Hey, would you take the Phillies the next game? Oh no, that's right. That's not until next year. Well, that's not until next year. It's terrible. I'm teasing. I'm trolling all these Phillies fans. It's brutal, Mark. It's brutal in Philadelphia this last week for these fans. Oh my gosh! I know you don't feel the pain, but you understand there's pain here.
Howard, I'm from Cleveland, so there's a lot of pain that I feel or don't feel.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look. Oh my gosh. Let's take a look. There's some good college games today. Let's take a look at the college card today. And what do you like?
I'm going to look at a couple of dogs on the card today that are playing really, really good defensively. They've held 4 opponents to season low yardage defensively this year. They're grabbing points, and I think they can win these games straight up on the scoreboard. First guy is going to be Arizona State. He's taking 9.5 or maybe even 10 points at Utah. Nice little roll for Arizona State here. Utah bounced back from last year as they were supposed to. Yes, I'll give them that. But Arizona State played really good football last year, and they're perhaps going to be even playing better football this year. I think that's way too many points in a game like this. Give me Arizona State plus 9.5 points.
All right. Who else do you like?
The other guy, I'm going to go to the Red River rivalry game and take Texas as a dog against Oklahoma today. It appears John Mateer is going to quarterback, being under center for Oklahoma. That's why the game has been sitting pick -1 either way. Now I see Oklahoma 1 and 1.5. But what I'm
Well, because
basically
they think
doing
their
here is,
quarterback's coming back. I think that's why it
yes, they
moved.
think he's coming
Yeah.
back for Oklahoma,
Yeah.
right? Which might be a little bit of an early push. I'm not a doctor, but the injury he had, he was supposed to be out anywhere from 6 weeks to 2 months, and he's been out 3 weeks. So I don't know what's going on
Right.
there. But bottom line, what you've got here in Texas is the former #1 ranked AP team. Now they're out of the polls. They're going to come as hungry as they could possibly be. And you've also got a former #1 ranked team in the AP poll who's off a straight up loss as a favorite. Those teams in that role are 19-3 straight up. That's the role Texas will be in today against Oklahoma. And Oklahoma also happens to be one of those 5-0 teams that are favored. That makes them a 5-0 fat cat, which you fade all the time. So give me Texas plus whatever you can see.
All right. So now I always ask you to look at teams that came off a big win, either may or may not be in a sandwich game. Are there any teams that you think kind of fall into that pattern?
Well, the guy coming off the biggest one has to be UCLA in what might have been the biggest shocker of the year, when they exposed, I don't want to say destroyed, but exposed Penn State for what they were, or maybe more exposed James Franklin. But I think they should have a tinge of a letdown here today. Whether or not it's going to happen, we'll see. But that was their first win of the season. So you get off the mat, you win your first game as a 24-point underdog. Good luck trying to get back up the next week. I think they're the guy that's going to probably suffer perhaps a letdown most of any team this week.
Yeah. So you would take who's UCLA playing? They're playing.
Washington, is it? Let me see
Yeah.
here.
I looked at that game too. I had the games up here. Is that a noon?
They're at Michigan
State. And that's the other thing is they're playing at noon. Now that's only 2 time zones, not the 3 hour. It's a 2 hour.
That's a real good
Yeah,
point.
it's a noon game, and they're a West Coast team playing early. I remember Chip Kelly told me one time when he was at Oregon, he told them, if you're going to schedule me on the East Coast, I'm not playing before 3:30. And he had the power to be able to do that with a lot of those teams. But these teams don't have the power to do that. Penn State, their season, I think their season is over. I wonder if the player, and I don't expect James Franklin that fraud of a head coach to get them up for the game, but it's hard to take a team on the road and they're getting. I mean, do you go against Penn State with Northwestern? Do you even think about it?
I think you have to go against Penn State today. The 2 games they lost in retrospect were really lost in the late stages of each game. They lost in overtime to Oregon, and they lost the final play of that game against UCLA last week. I don't know how he can get them up either here. And it's also homecoming, and he's laying a ton of points to Northwestern, the kind of a team that is always in your hair and you want to get them out of the way. You got to, if you entertain any thoughts at all about playing Penn State, you have to let them win by themselves and do it before you reach into your pocket to back them.
You know what? Iowa State seems like they should be more than 2.5 against. Maybe they're just not good enough against Colorado. Colorado is a funky team. I don't even like to look at that game. But do you have any thoughts on that game?
Well, there's a lot going on at Colorado. A lot of it's the Deion Sanders health issues right now, but more importantly, a lot of it is they're not playing well. They've been pushed around the field, and all but one game they played, they won the yardage in their football games. They lost a lot of talent last year to the National Football League draft, especially, and they got a quarterback issue going on there. They've used 4 different quarterbacks this year. No team goes anywhere when they use 4 different quarterbacks, and it's not 4 different quarterbacks because of injuries. It's because none of the 4 are any good. So I don't want any Colorado. I don't think for the rest of this football season here. Iowa State's a premier football team. Colorado's a wannabe, and I would only look at Iowa
You know what?
State.
Georgia Auburn. I see the line has just gone up in some places to 4.5. I don't know why. I mean, on the day of the game, is that smart money? that moves that line, and why would that line move? I don't like Georgia as a football team as much as a lot of people do.
Well, a lot of money moves on the days of the game today are more smart money than they are public, largely because a lot of the smart players are sitting back and waiting as long as they can before they expose their hand, and waiting for the best possible line, or they go out and they create the best possible line. So that's a lot of probably what we're seeing in this move here to Georgia in the football game. But I'm an Auburn fan here today. I like the Tigers. Hugh Freeze has always been a good underdog. But even more important, you've got to look ahead here, I think, for Georgia. They got Ole Miss on deck next
Mhm.
week. And also, you're talking about a Southeast Conference dog. And Southeast Conference dogs have been money in the bank this football season here. Go look at them collectively. The underdogs that come out of the Southeast Conference cash week after week after week. Now you've got a home dog in Auburn lined up and ready to be in that role today. I like Auburn plus the points. I think they trip up Georgia today.
All right, the NFL, the NFL, the only day that they don't have a game this year is Tuesday. But wait, next year they'll have a game on Tuesday, so they can have games on every day of the week at some point. The NFL, the greed of the NFL is just pathetic. I mean, when's enough enough? But whatever. All right, that's just my personal comment about the NFL. How about they shut down Dan Orlovsky, who I think he's a great guy. He and Brian Baldinger are the two best at breaking down games. And the NFL told Orlovsky he's not allowed to use video on his breakdowns on social media anymore because it's a rights thing.
Wow.
Now Baldinger can't because he works for the NFL Network, so he technically works for the NFL. So they told Orlovsky no. I mean, does that really hurt them? But that's the NFL. Again, another personal comment. But who do you like today in the or Sunday in the NFL?
Look at two underdogs here. Better offenses, better defenses, and just might pull the upsets here. First is the Cleveland Browns, going to take on
Wow.
Pittsburgh over in London. And, they started Dylan Gabriel last week. He looked really good. He checked a lot of boxes. I think the kid's got moxie, and I think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League. But more importantly, you've got the Browns are playing some really good defense here, number 3 overall in the league. And you've also got Pittsburgh has got a worse defense and a worse offense. Pittsburgh has only gained more than 300 yards in one football game this year. And you're also got a Pittsburgh football team that has not won the yards in any football game they played this year. And you can ask the Philadelphia Eagles what's that's like if you're a team like that and you can't outgain your opponents here. It just doesn't add up for Pittsburgh in this football game here. Way too many points for Pittsburgh today. I like Cleveland in the upset
You
here.
know what? You mentioned something about a team that plays in London the week before. Everybody thinks if they don't have a bye week, they get challenged the next week. That's not necessarily the case, right?
No, it's not. In fact, it's the opposite. When teams play in London the week before and they come back and they opt to not take the bye week and play instead, which the Cleveland Browns are going to be doing here, they've done really, really rather quite well. I believe the number is something like 13 and 6 or 7 straight up without the bye week, which would favor the Cleveland Browns in that scheduling situation.
Well, that's kind of interesting because I
Yeah.
guess you get right back into your routine. All right, who else do you like?
That guy's going to be the Seattle Seahawks. There's a lot of picking one out there, maybe even one and a
Yep.
half. I like Seattle over Jacksonville on Sunday. You got a real nice situation here where Seattle comes off a loss as a favorite. Jacksonville comes off of a win as an underdog, just topped Kansas City in a Monday night football game. Now they're going to change roles and lay points or be picked in this football contest. But again, it's Seattle. Better offense, better defense, better team. I think they're going to get out of Jacksonville with the money as
You know
well.
what? Are you ready to buy into the Dallas Cowboys? They're laying 3.5
No,
against. Well, that answers the
no.
question. They're playing a bad Carolina team, but they're laying 3.5 on the road. So you obviously don't like the game.
No, because this Dallas defense can be and has been exposed this year 3 times season high yardage they've allowed, and why not here today or tomorrow, I should say, in this football game here. I'm not anything at all about Dallas this football season. I kind of was endeared to Dak Prescott because I think he was rising above the ashes of everything that
Yeah,
was being
right.
burned down in Dallas.
Uh-huh.
But one man alone can't win football games for a team, and I just don't like the makeup of the Dallas Cowboys, the psyche of the football team here. I think Carolina might even be the better team.
All right. Who do you think, there's a couple other games before I get to the Eagles. Who do you think is, based on the way you look at it, one or two of the most overrated teams in the NFL?
Overrated teams.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers, absolutely, for sure. I mean, for reasons that I've just alluded to, they can't beat themselves, let alone an opponent, but they still keep winning games. And I don't know if that's an Aaron Rodgers mystique or whatever it
Probably
happens to
is.
be,
Yeah.
but they're going to be exposed sooner or later. They're going to be exposed for for who they're not. I think they would have to head the list. And also, it appears like maybe the Rams are not quite what they were. I think that the devastating loss they suffered to the Eagles kind of really ruptured that football team.
Mhm.
And you got to keep an eye and a pulse on them to see whether or not they can come back and be the team they were when they went into Philadelphia, as opposed to the team they were when they left. So they're on my watch list per se right now. But Pittsburgh for sure, the phoniest team in the NFL.
Okay. Kansas City won last week, but I still haven't. I mean, I think the coach is the best in football, but I haven't bought into Kansas City. And Detroit's playing really well. Uh, but Kansas City's given up the points. Do you like a side in that game?
Well, yeah, I'm going to probably side to Detroit in the game if for no other reason. Another thing, what I call a tape job. You put tape over the names of the teams and
Mm.
look at what their body of work is, and it's all Detroit in the football game. And that's not because Kansas City's bad. Their defense is pretty good this football season, better than most other years. It's just that Detroit, better offense, better defense, and they got a head coach in Dan Campbell that just is a money machine in games away from home in his career. He's absolutely unbelievable. Something like 19-5 to the spread in games on the road for the Detroit Lions here. I think this is a big, big, huge pressure situation game for Kansas City here. And I don't know if they can step up. I really don't. It's kind of like Penn State. You don't reach and play them until they prove they can win. And I don't know if Kansas City's ready to win here right now just yet against Detroit.
Okay. New England played better last week. And New Orleans won. I believe New Orleans won their first game last week. And New England, I didn't think I'd see this, but I guess against New Orleans, is a 3.5-point favorite on the road. Do you like a side in that game?
There's New England. I got to give them their due. They're an improved football team, but I don't know if they warrant going out road favorites here right now at this stage of the season here. And it's not that New Orleans is any reason you're going to want to run to the bank and make a withdrawal to back this football team. It's more a fade against New England in this football contest here. They win a game last week, get out-yarded in the contest. They've been out-yarded every game they played except one this year has New England. And I don't know if I can lay points on the road with a team like this. Just not enough pedigree for New England for me to lay points with.
I kind of agree with that. That half a point sometimes really kind of takes, in some cases, it takes you away from the game. Are the Washington? I'll just call them the Washington football team. I can't say Commanders. It's such a ridiculous name. Are they better? We thought they were good. Are they better than we thought they were? And would that be a side on Monday night?
Washington was the team that came into the league this year. I thought was a little bit overhyped from what they did last year. And then you had the Jaden Daniels situation where now there's game film on him, and what are we going to see a sophomore blues type thing? Then he gets injured, so we don't really have a Washington team that we really know all about here just yet. It was a pretty good win last week. I think their win against was it the Chargers? They won straight up as an underdog. We're going to find out a lot about them here this particular week against Chicago. It's a team they should handle. I probably think they will handle because I'm not a big Bears fan at all. But we're going to find out a lot about Washington here this week. And I still think that they're a tad overrated here. And I still think that this NFC East division is wide open right now.
Well, I can't believe Dallas could win the division. It's the Eagles.
No.
I would think it's the Eagles or Washington. Giants aren't ready to step up yet.
That's why the door is open for the Eagles. Even as poorly as they played, they can still steal this division.
Okay. They don't play on Sunday. They've already played. And I know in talking to you during the week, you like the points in that game. And the Giants, Jackson Dart, he had a stinker. When the Eagles don't win the turnover battle, I think they're going to have trouble winning games. And they didn't win it last game. They were -2. They won it in every game this year. They've won the turnover battle. Now, is there something you look at, and we'll talk about it next week. When a team plays on Thursday night, is there something off a loss and going on the road? They're on the road next week against Minnesota. Is there something that you look at in that regard?
Yeah, obviously, it depends upon all the other situations around the game. Is there revenge involved in the football game? Do they? How is their defense? Do they allow fewer points than they gain? Do they allow fewer yards than they gain? So everything has to all check a lot of boxes, different boxes there. But the first look has to be at a team that loses on a Thursday to come back and make a case for them when they play Sunday with an added 3 or 4 days of rest to play, especially if they're an underdog.
Well, do you think they're going to be an underdog at Minnesota?
No, I
No.
don't. I still think they're still going to carry the Philadelphia weight, and deservedly so.
Oh,
They are the defending Super
yeah,
Bowl
there'll be
champions.
3 or less, I think, at Minnesota, even if J.J. McCarthy comes back. But Carson Wentz, as much as the people in Philadelphia have tried to forget him, he's actually done a nice job for them if
Yes, he
if
has.
he plays the game. It's going to be kind of interesting for the week. They got some flaws. That team meeting, or excuse me, that player meeting between and on all the networks, that sports networks, the talking bobbleheads, made a big deal out of Saquon, AJ Brown, and Hurts getting together. Boy, that really helped them. They haven't scored a point in the second half in the last 3 weeks. It's almost impossible. That's almost impossible. Uh,
Don't you think? Let me ask you this question: don't you think that they have to find a way to make Saquon Barkley a factor in a football
how do
game?
they do
I
that?
mean,
Screen
yeah, I
Brian
know he put a
Baldinger.
lot of yards up last year and a lot of miles, but he's simply missing this year.
Well, they're stacking the defenses against him. The offensive line is good, but not as good. But they're stacking the defenses against him. They're forcing Jalen Hurts to throw the football because they know that he has a tendency to not want to throw the football. I think he's too afraid of interceptions, which he had one last week. But Brian Baldinger brought up something when I had him on the show the other day. He says the Eagles don't use the screen game that much. So maybe there might be a reason for it. And I'm going to get into the other thing. People have said, well, you can't play action as well when your quarterback's in the shotgun. But I have been told by people with the team that Jalen really doesn't like being under center. So you want to make, and I understand why you want to make the players comfortable in what they do. And if he's not comfortable under center, he's out of the shotgun most of the time because apparently he can't read the defense, look at the defense
Yeah,
as
you can read
well.
it better out of the
And he's
shotgun,
not
right?
that tall. When you break it down, he's not one of those tall guys. So you do it better out of the shotgun, but it takes away better results from
Ability.
play action. And that's
The reason I'm asking you this is because one of the best handicapping tools and teams for just teams to win games is the team that leads the league in rush attempts per game is always real good. Philadelphia was that last year. They won the Super Bowl. Philadelphia should have been that again this year. But are those rush attempts that the Philadelphia Eagles manage, are those by design or are they Jalen Hurts taking off and running the football? And now we're not getting either of the two without Saquon Barkley adding to the cause here. So that's what's diminished for Philadelphia. Their rush attempts per game, they're way, way
wait a minute.
down.
I don't know if you noticed this. They had 4 tush pushes in a row, 4 in a row last game, 4
Oh,
in a
wow.
row. It's just, and one of them, and they pointed it out on TV, and the officials can't see it because you really can only see it well on instant replay when you slow mo it. They had a false start again on one of their tush pushes. There's always in any point one of those tush pushes, there's always a false start, and that screws up everything. I think they're going to take it away because it's really impossible for the officials to officiate. But that's 4 rushes. That's 4 rushing attempts, 4
Right.
tush
That
pushes.
counts as a rushing attempt.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and so it's just whatever. It's just they have some challenge, and their defense they don't stop people when they need to stop people. It's just, the Rams game, they really should have lost that game if it wasn't for the blocked field goal. Because after they took the lead, the Rams marched right down the field, get to the 25. The Tampa Bay Bucks, they went down the field with a touchdown and 2 points. They could tie up the game. And inside 3 minutes, they let them move down the field. Their defense, and they've lost some players. So it's just players make plays, and they lost them because you can't afford people anymore, especially when you get to a Super Bowl. Teams are going to pay players. Josh Sweat's playing well in Arizona. Milton Williams is playing well in New England. And they were two players that were important for them. They're not getting as good a pass rush. And, more quarterbacks are mobile, as we saw with Jackson Dart. But it's interesting. But we'll see what happens next week. But we'll talk about that game next week. And if people have interest in your services, 800-321-7777, and on the internet, playbooksports.com. Mark, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Howard, enjoy the games. Be well, and I'll catch up with you
All
next
right,
week.
thanks,
Thank you.
Marc Lawrence.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just there are some challenges with the Eagles, and I got a question from something Mark said, and you will win a pair of Oakley sunglasses if you answer it correctly when you submit your answer to my website, and you're the person selected at random. Also, I want to tell you that I will have picks, and I raise money for two very, very good organizations, Brandywine Valley SPCA and Providence Animal Center. And the money that you make in those donations will go to those two, and I'll post my picks. It'll go up shortly on all my social media platforms. And it's a small donation, and it helps some really good organizations that help the dogs and cats, and that's really important. They really do a lot for animals. They really do a lot for animals. One comment before I do a couple other things here. I see a comment from Gene Bozzi, I guess it is, or Bozy. Couldn't the last run in I assume the Phillies Dodgers game have been challenged? He already went outside the circle, then came back and tagged home. No, it couldn't be challenged. You because he did tag home plate, and he went outside what circle? I mean, if you go into the dugout, I think it's where it is. And I had somebody on social media, some idiot, said, well, he never touched home plate. Well, do you notice right after he passed home plate and the ball went by Realmuto, he came right back and stepped on home plate. And that's when the players came out to celebrate. That's when he came back. And I don't know if the umpire made a signal at that time, but no, that cannot be challenged. He went out of around the batter's box. No, you have to basically go to the dugout to be ineligible to come back and touch home plate. And obviously he didn't, and I looked at the video, he came right back and touched home plate. That game was over. Stop begging. Gene, stop begging. All right? Stop begging. All right. I want to thank, before I get back, you want to join the show and talk about the Phillies, which is obviously big on your mind, and you want to talk about the Eagles. Eagles have some flaws. They really do have some flaws. But I want to thank our presenting sponsor, as I'm always happy to have Stillwell Financial Advisors as our presenting sponsor, because Jeff Stillwell can help you. Every time I talk to him, I learn something. Every time I speak with Jeff Stillwell, I learn something, and you can too, about your finances and knowing what's going on in the world. The changing world of finance is unbelievable. But he's a sharp guy, knowledgeable guy, and he knows what to do. Just give him a call. Just try to figure out whether you're comfortable. And I think once talking to him, you will be. Give him a call at Jeff Stillwell at 732-343-0813. And always like to thank Jeff Stillwell. Also, there's a big sale before we get to the Eagles and the Phillies, and you being a part of the show. Audi Westchester, another great sale going on. 3.99% financing for up to 72 months on the new redesigned models of the A5, the Q5, the SQ5, the Q5 Sportback, the SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear wheel drive. Great deals. Audi Westchester, really good and fun people. Grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks, look at new cars. when I'm out there and I see customers that want to say hello, I'm always happy to do that. I might pop out there today before the Temple game's at 4 o'clock this afternoon in the Philadelphia area, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Stop by. Navy's not a bad team. Navy's a good team. Navy's a good team. We'll see if Temple can keep it close and maybe can win a game, but whatever. Audi Westchester, I'm going to stop at before I go to the Temple game, and you can too. I mean, great deal, 3.99% financing up to 72 months on those new models, the new remodeled A5, Q5, SQ5, Q5 Sportback, SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear-wheel drive. 1421 Wilmington Pike. Don't wait. That deal's not going to last long. AudiWestchester.com. Check them out on their website, AudiWestchester.com. And I also want to tell you about Piazza Property Pros. Redesign your property. You just want to redesign your property. It's just, I say redesign. They can redo it, whether it's building a pool, whether you want to get your pool, you needed some pool maintenance going into the winter, landscaping, excavation, fencing. Trust the pros, Piazza Property Pros with 25 years of experience. They can do a lot to help you. 610-566-2608 is the number. Hey, they don't subcontract, so it's their people. 610-566-2608, or check them out on the internet, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. We have, I believe we have some people that want to talk to me and want to get their voices heard. Is that correct, Joe? Do we have somebody on the line there? Oh, Cowboy Jim. Now, what's he going to, whatever he says is going to be bullshit, but let's go. Cowboy Jim, let's go. Hey, nice
I have
hairdo.
tissues for you Eagle fans and Philly fans. Plenty of tissues here. Okay.
I thought you used them all up for the Cowboys.
Listen, great minds think alike. We're right about the Phillies, right about the Eagles. I said the Phillies. I said the Phillies would lose in 4, and I said the Giants, as long as Jackson Dart did not turn the ball over, they would beat the Eagles.
Well, that's real rocket science. Losing in 4, Dodgers were a better team. All right, so they were a better team.
Well,
they were a better team. I didn't like the Phillies for a while now because of their lineup. And when the Eagles don't get a turnover, when the teams don't get a turnover, when they don't get a turnover, it's harder for them to win. And the Eagles have really basically won their games this year because they out-turned over the other team. But they were
but Denver didn't turn the ball over. Denver didn't turn the ball over.
And the Giants didn't turn the ball over.
Oh, and by the way, the Eagles did not practice all week. They didn't practice. You said they would practice like twice. They didn't practice at all.
No, but they do.
The Giants.
Yeah, but that happens for every team playing on Thursday night. You have walkthroughs. You have walkthroughs. They have walkthroughs. They're out on the field. They have walkthroughs. They don't physically practice, but almost every team in the NFL does that. That's not new. Hey, you're not bringing like something new to the table.
Well, I am. Well, they got their butts kicked.
Well,
okay?
yeah, so they did. They got their ass kicked. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. They did. And I'll just say this, the Eagles offensive line is in disarray. It's in disarray. And Jalen Hurts is taking sacks. And then Marc Lawrence is talking about, we got to get Saquon Barkley going. It's like they can't. He can't get it going because the offensive line stinks.
No, you can't get it going. See, you're out of your area here. You're overstepping your bounds. Okay. They defend against him. The offensive line is not in disarray. They're not as good. They lost a guard who was really good. They've had players that have been injured. Lane Johnson's been out a couple of games, not the whole game. But the reality is when you have 9 men in the box, you're forcing Jalen to throw. And you know why he's getting sacks, genius? I'm going to break this down for you. I mentioned it earlier. Because he has tendency to be afraid to throw the football.
Yes, we know.
He doesn't want to turn the ball over. So he takes more sacks than he should. That is the issue. The offensive line can't be as good as last year. disarray is pretty strong.
Well, what you need is the MVP of the league, and that would be Dak Prescott. That's who you need. That's who you wish you had. So as for the
You
Eagles,
couldn't help yourself.
as for the Eagles, fraudulent, phony, and false starts. That's
You
all they
couldn't-
are.
You couldn't help yourself.
Four
You just
straight tush pushes. You guys are a joke. You're a joke to the NFL
well, I think
for keeping that.
I think 4 straight tush pushes is a joke. I will. I think that is a joke. 4
Yeah,
straight.
and yeah,
I think
where
the
was this-
NFL is going to eliminate it in some way because it's impossible to officiate, and they know that there's been false starts. It's a split second, but it's still a false start, and because the officials can't officiate it because it's hard to see in regular speed. I think they're going to say that's enough of that. You know, if you're good enough, you run the football. You just run the football.
Well, to complete my Cowboy Jim week, which has been absolutely wonderful. Let's beat the Panthers. Let's get the first place, and let's knock out the Eagles. Let's send them back into the Stone Age. That's where they belong.
They have no shot of staying in. They're not going to get the
Well,
first
the
place
NFC East is up for grabs now. It's up for grabs.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's nice of you to say that. It's just get out of here. Will you get out of here?
Bye, King. Miss you. Bye.
Yeah, I know you do. I miss you too. I don't miss you. I miss the others, the other people that you work with. I miss them. How could I miss you? Although I could bust your balls more so. I see Lloyd Marshall. Hello from Lockport, which is just outside of Buffalo. Hey, Lloyd, welcome to the program. I've had people from all over the world, actually all over the world, join the show. That's what you can do nowadays with with social media, with the internet. And I want to thank people for the numbers that people view the show and listen to the show. It increases every week. And I suggest you subscribe to YouTube because I know for a fact, you get notified with Twitter and the others, I guess, but YouTube sends you out an alert when I go live, and then you can always watch it and find it very easily on YouTube. So I suggest you subscribe. Lloyd's listening, that's good. All right, I want to play a comment. Rob Thompson, and I'll address this, was asked about his job, and you knew after the last game he was going to be asked about his job. Joe, can we play Rob Thompson?
Do you expect to manage next year?
Do I? That's again, it's out of my control. I'm not even thinking about it. I got 60 people in there that are brokenhearted right now, so I'm thinking about that more so than my job right now.
Rob, thank you for all your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep, that was the last question of his news conference of the last game of the season for the Phillies. I believe him. I don't believe Riamulto, but I believe Rob Thompson's got another year left on his contract. And if they change, I don't think the Phillies are going to change. If they can't bend over for public demand all the time. You can't do that. They bring a manager in, he's just going to do the same thing because they have so many analytics people. It's out of control, these analytics people. And you don't even need a manager in the dugout anymore. The Phillies aren't the only team with a lot of these teams, because all they have to do is follow their sheet. What does the computer say? And there's always somebody there that, tells him, well, the computer says this and the computer says that. And there's other things he's got to think about. If you're a manager, you think about when you bring in a relief pitcher, he's got to face 3 straight guys. So you look at the lineup, and Rob Thompson does do that. But for people to blame Kirkring for that last loss, that's an insult. That's an insult because they had 4 hits in 11 innings and 1 run. That's where that's where you have issues. I just the lineup. All right, I'll live with Turner. This is my lineup. I wouldn't have Harper hitting 3. I'd have him hitting 5, but they won't put him at 5 because Harper doesn't want to hit 5. Okay, so you put Harper at 2, Schwarber at 3. If you have a home run hitter, you want more men on base, don't you? So you put him at 3 or 4. Yeah, well, analytics. I don't give a bleep about analytics. So I put Schwarber at 3. Bohm, who's the best contact hitter on that team. He's probably the best hitter because he doesn't try to hit home runs. It's just, I see Lloyd says, you need the human element. Other people, another guy, Danny, I defended Harper in the past, but I can't anymore. It's home run or walk back to the dugout. It's not enough. He's not a real RBI guy anymore. Now, he's got to have a better year next year. That's 6 years left with him, but I would go Turner, Harper, because Harper won't hit 5. I put Harper at 5. Harper, Schwarber, Bohm, Realmuto won't be here. So then you got to figure out with all the other people you have afterwards. I don't know. I don't think Realmuto will be here next year. I don't think they're going to re-sign him, and I don't know if Schwarber's going to be here. They have some real challenges because of their salaries. Now, the Eagles' flaws, I've kind of mentioned them. The meeting, I said when I was on another podcast with somebody else, with Dan Cilio, I says meetings are a waste. If they don't work, then what did the meeting do? Then you can't ever have a player meeting. It's a waste. They're a waste of time. They're a waste of time. Their defense, I don't know that they're going to be able to trade for people. What do you trade to get the people? AJ Brown's keeping his mouth shut, but and he made a real nice catch in the last game. They mismanaged a little bit before the half, and then they didn't score in the second half. How do you not score in the second half? But if Jalen Hurts, why did you slide right before the half? If you didn't slide and got a first down, you could have spiked the ball to have at least one more play. So he slid short of the first down. I just sometimes, and I don't think he's real comfortable throwing the football as much when he's over 30. I don't think that's a good situation. Now we'll see. The Minnesota will probably be favored. They got to win the Minnesota game. Minnesota's not chopped liver. They're not chopped liver. Their schedule's not easy. It's just it's some real issues. Do we have any people that want to join the program, Joe? Is there any? Okay. It's just people are angry, and I understand. Why they're angry. David, it's great to hear me on Saturday mornings. I'm here all the time, Saturday mornings, 8:00 live, and then you can watch the show on the social media platforms afterwards. But let me see if there's any other comments. Well, hey, listen, Larry says, will AJ Brown be able to coexist? Yeah, I don't know why not. It just coexist with who? He has no problem with, personally, has no problem with Hurts. And the offense, I don't know what you can do to change, uh, to change, the offense. I see another, because of unless you run the football. And I don't know that teams aren't going to be stupid. They're going to stack the box and force Jalen to throw. See another comment here. Thompson's fault our hitters can't hit. People are sheer geniuses. New manager going to make no difference. That is correct, Robert. You are correct. Uh, uh, Somebody wants a new walk-up song for Stott. Well, he doesn't have that walk-up song when he's on the road. Somebody else wants to trade Bryce, can't trade Bryce. Contract's not going to allow you, and they're not going to trade Bryce. And it'll be interesting to see whether they keep Bader. Did he just have a little spurt here, or is he really that guy? And Daniel Kelly, I want to follow him on Twitter. Daniel, don't use my platform to get. If they want to follow you, they want to follow you. But it's just you're obviously a Flyers fan, and the Flyers do play their second game of the season tonight. It's on the road. Their home opener is Monday. Monday is their home opener. The Flyers, I think Tockett's going to do a good job. They got some young players. They got to get it together. It's just, and I see Bill Leonard. Bats always go cold every year. Well, they go cold in the playoffs because the pitching is better, and all they are is a home run hitting team. All right, let me give you the question to win the pair of Oakley sunglasses. All right, Marc Lawrence. I asked Marc Lawrence who he thought the most overrated team or teams are in the NFL. And he mentioned one at the top, and he mentioned a second team that he thought might be overrated. If you have the correct answer and you submit that to our website, howardeskin.com. It's my website. It's your website too. If you want to jump in, submit the answer. And if in fact you have the correct answer and you're chosen at random, you will win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. Joe, did I see somebody else that wanted to conclude the show with going on the show? Did I see somebody? Audio only. Okay. Okay, let's go. I think it's DMT. DMT, what's up? Okay, now he's listening to something else. This is not rocket science. He was there and he was listening to something else. You got to listen when you click on listen to what's on whatever device you're using. Listen to that, because that's when you'll hear me come to you. I'm trying to let you be part of it. And more people are trying, and more people will understand. I tell you, it's not that hard to click in and to do the right thing. But for those people that did join, I thank you. Hopefully I answered your questions. Phillies will have an interesting offseason only because I don't know that they can fix enough to be a World Series team. I just don't. Their pitching's good. And I haven't heard good reports about Painter in the minor leagues, and he's going to be one of their pitchers next year. I don't think Suarez will be back. Just to conclude here, I don't think Suarez will be back. I don't think Schwarber will be back. I don't think Realmuto will be back. And what free agents do they sign? Bader, people want Bader back. They're going to have to make a decision on that because they're going to have another outfielder because Crawford's going to come up from the minor leagues. The Phillies think they have good enough young players. I don't know that you have enough to make you a World Series contender. Boom. They tried to trade Castellanos last year, and I don't even know if they pay his whole contract that he's going to be able to get traded. And I don't think John Middleton, who's worried about his legacy, said that those are his words, is going to eat that contract. So I don't know what they're going to do with Castellanos. That'll be an interesting situation. But I thank you for joining the show. Thank you all. Thanks to Joe Gangemi on the other side, technically. Thanks to Tony Anastasia. All the graphics you see, the wonderful graphics are great. So you have a great weekend. And Phillies, will they win their next game? We got a lot of time to think about it. Will the Eagles win their next game? We don't have a lot of time to think about that, although they do have the weekend off. It will be interesting. But the Eagles are going to make the playoffs. Are they going to the Super Bowl? Not the way they're playing. Not the way they're playing. Are they going to go to the Super Bowl? All right. So I gave you the question. You can get my picks to make your donations, which are up on all the social media platforms. If you want to make a donation and you want to have some action today, and we do it tomorrow. And I think Monday, I'll probably have some picks too as well. Yeah, I had a good weekend in the pros last week. Not a good weekend in college, but I'm honest about it. But not a good weekend in the pros. I had a great weekend in the pros. You take care. Thanks to everybody, and have a great weekend. And thanks for joining the Howard Eskin Show.